Music can influence your emotional and physical well-being. Solfeggio and binaural beats create frequencies that have been found to help heal your body and alter your mood. Guided meditation can center and calm your mind and soothe your soul. Melody Clouds brings you a massive collection of audiobooks and music files that include 17,000 classic novels and handpicked authors narrated by professional voice actors. Get access to exclusive content on children's stories and classic Aesop's fables. Melody Clouds is translated into over 140 languages and in more than 200 countries and has a library that continues to expand monthly. Sign up now for a 60-day trial for just $2.99. Then, keep the music flowing for $5.99 a month. Our yearly membership is now $59.99 for a limited time. Join thousands of subscribers who have found the benefits of these frequencies.
Welcome, everybody, to today's Straight Talk Commerce episode, podcast. So many devices you can listen to our show through. But it's great to be here with Wayne Altman, who I'll be getting into it with a little later on misconceptions about e-commerce, different opinions people have. I think it's going to be up to everybody listening to figure out who's right. And we have our host, Ian Slade. Ian, great to see you.
Good to be here. All right. So
I think a fair way, I think a fair way to decide is for people to make a comment on that. Who wins this?
Oh, that'd be good.
We're going to have this discussion. I think that it's a very democratic way, popular vote. People comment and tell everyone in the comments why you think I won this debate.
Think is the key word in that statement.
All right.
The ones that want to be right, you know who to vote with. But go
That's
ahead.
right.
Yeah.
Let's start out with some easy ones here. I'll start with an easy one here. A lot of people think that e-commerce is an easy way to get rich quickly. Why is that a misconception?
Look, that's a very important. Actually, we start off with the most important topic or the most important question first. Is it an easy way to get rich quickly? And my position on that is, of course, that depends. How much do you know? If you are just learning, it is going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done in your life because you've got a lot of ground to learn, a lot of expertise to absorb. This isn't easy for a beginner. However, the more you learn, the better you get at some of the topics, some of the things that we're going to be teaching you in Straight Talk Commerce, the easier and quicker it is going to be. So yeah, it is definitely a lot of people do that miscommunicating that from jump, it's going to be a money grab and you are going to just bleed. Money is just going to fly out of every orifice. That is just absolutely not the case. David?
Awesome.
Look, I'll semi-agree with that, but I'll also say, look, you need a plan. You see the people on TikTok, oh, you can do this, do that, make millions of dollars, thousands of dollars a day. Sure, you can get there, but there's a whole world underneath that has to happen to get to that level. That's what we planned. That's why we started Straight Talk Commerce, so that we can help our users when they see kind of these statements on TikTok or on Instagram or whatever about, oh, you can make thousands a day, which we certainly want all of our listeners to do. Where's all the pieces behind that? That's what no one's talking about except for here at Straight Talk Commerce.
All right. Well, this one is related to that. If you build it, they will come. Wayne.
Okay, so no, absolutely not. The internet is littered with the bones of stores people started, did everything right, and never promoted. If you do not let people know that you are there and you do not do things to attract business and to encourage business and to work with others, you are going to die either a very slow and painful death, or maybe mercifully, it will happen very quickly for you that you will go up in flames. So but here's one thing that I will say right off the top that is 100% guaranteed. If you don't get up off your butt and do something, you have 0.0 chance of ever being a success. So there you go.
Anything you want to add to that, Dave?
Yeah, look, I think, and it's a good time to talk about this because at the beginning of the internet, could you buy an attractive URL and the way search functionality works and get a flood of business if you had the right infrastructure set up? Yes. Now with AI, do I get a .ai URL and all of a sudden everybody's going to flood my company and my website? And do I have a channel to sell them something? No. So again, it's all about the planning, the structure, putting up a website. It's like going outside your house and putting a flyer on a telephone pole. Unless I let everybody know it's there, they're not going to really know I exist. So yeah, I agree with yeah, build it and they will come. I think that's a farce.
All right. E-commerce kills physical retail stores. Now, there's a lot of retail stores that have closed, but was that really because of e-commerce?
Okay, so the answer to that question is no, that's not what killed the retail store. Their failure to adjust to an e-commerce environment may have killed that retail store. E-commerce is available to anyone. Let's use Dick's Sporting Goods, for example, okay? A great retail location. I go into Dick's all the time. They also have a very vibrant and good e-commerce. I can order softballs or volleyballs or whatever, and they arrive, as I well know, they arrive on the front doorstep. So they made a very smart pivot and learned some things about e-commerce. So what I would say is if your business was killed by e-commerce, it was because you did not learn and pivot and become an e-commerce also store.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I think it's all about the data, right? If we're not tracking our customers and communicating with them and making it easy for them, then yes, the ones that we're able to adjust are still here. The ones that aren't, that wanted to blame the web, like e-commerce, yeah, they're not around anymore. They're a pickleball court now, I think.
How about this one? I think this isn't just for e-commerce. This is for all commerce. A lot of people think that low prices are the only way to compete.
I love this question. I love this question. And the answer is absolutely not. The answer to the question is value. Value is the way to compete and the only way to compete. You can charge nothing and give things away. And as long as the perceived value is not there, no one's going to take it. You could be standing on the strip in Vegas, if you've ever done that, and someone's coming by and handing you those flyers are free.
Flyers, yeah.
And you do everything you can to matrix your way out of getting one of those things. It's free. The guy didn't ask you for it, but there's no value to that. And you don't want to go carrying around a bunch of free flyers. Okay. On the other hand, there are tons of things on the internet that are extremely expensive or extremely the cost of them are extremely high, and they're sold every single day. As a matter of fact, some of the best e-commerce businesses are furniture and these high ticket items, freezers. I taught somebody not too long ago how to change their website. They sell $3,500 freezers. And immediately he started making sales, and the margins on those were out of this world. Made me want to do it myself, which I should have.
Yeah. And I think, look, I think the best example of this is on Amazon. There's a lot of websites you can buy the same lamp through. Is it the cheapest one that has the most sales? No. Is it the most expensive? It's the one right in the middle. People will pay, and then I think followed by the more expensive and then the cheaper. People will pay for quality. And if it seems like it's too cheap, then you're underselling the product. I don't think people want to risk getting something that's not up to their standards.
I'll add one more example to that. If you go on Amazon Prime and you're going to watch a movie, there are a lot of movies there for $2.99. That's generally not what people are picking, however. They are picking the new releases that cost $15, $18 to rent for the evening. because the value of that, it's new entertainment. I'm not watching Citizen Kane for $3.99, a 50, 60, 70-year-old movie. What I'm watching is Jurassic Park 12, and that the perceived value makes me pay $22.95 for that piece of content.
All right. So value it is. Now, there are folks that think that, hey, I'm just a small little bakery, I have a small little business, and e-commerce is only for large businesses. What do you have to say to those folks, Wayne?
Look, the e-commerce is what leveled the playing field for the small guy, the little guy. You have the same tools available to you that the big companies have available to them. You may not have the same amount of effort that goes into it or vast numbers of employees but with the advent of AI and the AI tools that are available to you, as long as you manage them successfully, it looks like you've got 1,500 employees at the tip of your finger. The amount of work that one person can put out has risen exponentially. That being said, there are advantages to being large. You just have to find, and by the way, there are advantages to being small. A lot of people have a prejudice against buying from Walmart.com. They don't want to buy from Amazon. I don't ever hear someone say, I'm not buying from Amy 2 doors down because she's little tiny Etsy store. But I do hear constantly, no way am I going to buy from this store or that store because they're a big, huge conglomerate, and I don't want to encourage that anymore.
Yeah, and look, I think technology can be the big equalizer, right? I can build a website, I can not pay huge rents every month. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of money that will go into, or just costs that can go into creating a website, being effective with checkout, many of these things, but AI is making that a lot easier. So many tools are coming out now, and I think for the people that are just going to take time, create a plan, and get there, they can be in just a great position. Remember, Amazon started as a bookstore.
Sure.
eBay started selling Pez dispensers.
Hmm.
Right? So these things start small, put up the infrastructure. Now they're who they are today. And now, starting now, we can look at, we already have a lot of these tools. How do we leverage this new generation of AI in our new world to get there?
Good point.
I think they can compete, and it's an advantage for sure.
This one, I really am interested in your thoughts. Returns and refunds. I've heard folks, a mutual friend of ours, Shaheen, talked about how some businesses, they actually let you keep the merchandise if you don't like it because the cost of restocking, reshipping, repackaging to sell it is not worth it. What are your thoughts on a small business dealing with returns and refunds?
So with Black Hawk Survival, that became an issue. There are ways around that issue. You're number one, you need to make sure that you're getting high quality items that are not often returned. I have a very liberal return policy. I try to have a very good communication with my customer and quickly try to find out what the problem is. And if it becomes an ongoing issue, then I switch products very quickly. If there's a product that's on one of my websites that sells great, but I get a lot of returns and it's hurting the bottom line, that's part of doing business. And that's something that you need to address very quickly. And that's what I'm talking about. This kind of thing is what I'm talking about when we get an education in e-commerce. To think that you don't need the things we're going to talk about, and we do talk about here, is ludicrous. These are things that definitely are an education and can be in a very expensive education, gathering that knowledge as opposed to not having it. If you don't know what you're doing, this could really ruin your business.
100%.
Yeah,
Anything to add to that, Dave?
I'm not sure where they went with returning that. I know when they made that announcement, you could just return it, but then keep it because shipping was too much. Look, it depends on the product, right? If it's a mug or a Something that's not like clothing or other items that you wouldn't necessarily restock.
Right.
I think they have to have. Amazon makes it very easy. Amazon is a channel for all of you. Even if you're selling your products on your site, great. You can also sell them through the Amazon store and some other things. So just know what you're getting into when you get into those relationships, because I think companies just have to have a refund policy when it comes to online merchandise, or it could hurt sales for sure.
It is what it is, right?
Hey, I will add one thing to that. That
Sure.
is one of my favorite problems to have. Because
Mm.
if you have a problem or you see a problem beginning in refunds and returns, that means you're selling products and that you can make adjustments. You can help yourself way better and way quicker if you're selling products and you need to return them or you need to exchange them. It's way easier to fix that problem than to sell the products to begin with. So
Right.
learning how to sell products and making sure that you've got enough income coming in is a much more grave issue than when you have to do returns or refunds or work with customer service.
100%. This one I've heard you talk a lot about, Wayne, where you're trying to encourage people to really optimize social media. So the common myth is social media is only for branding.
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. We use social media to announce new products. We use social media to engage with our customers, let them know what we're doing, what our plans are in the future. One of the key things, and this is a big thing that I don't see a whole lot of people doing, we allow social media to dictate to us to a certain degree what new products we're going to be selling. We listen to the comments in the comment section. And if someone's asking for something, we were talking about this before the show started. If someone is asking, your customers are asking you for a particular product, you need to listen very intently and you need to pay very close attention to what it is they're asking of you. Because look, that's low-hanging fruit. That is very easy for most people to go in and create another revenue stream.
100%.
Yeah, and just
Because
research the listening that Wayne touched on. That's immediate response, right? So we talk about inventory control, new products you should be coming out with. Social media is a great way not only to brand your business, but to listen to your customers and see what's out there. Many tools now, I'll go to AI again, that are just making it easy to capture these loads of data.
And this would be a very good time to add that people that are watching, if you've gotten this far, we want to know what subjects you want us to touch on. Okay, we're
Sure.
going to put our money where our mouth is. And if you have questions, specific questions, this is the time, this is the place for you to ask those questions and get them addressed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All e-commerce platforms are the same. Now, I think that's just a lack of
Yeah. That
research.
question came from someone that absolutely is a very beginning. You have WooCommerce, you have Shopify, Etsy. They're all useful platforms, all incredible places to do business. But you could start a luggage company on Shopify, but if you grow, you're going to need to be on a WooCommerce, or you're going to need to be on another platform that can handle huge amounts of inventory, multiple levels of SKUs, multiple colors of each one of those SKUs. Your Shopify store is not going to be able to handle something like that, managing all of that kind of inventory. On the other hand, you do not want to start off your store unless you have a massive amount of investment. Start off with a WooCommerce store, for example, and not to pick on Woo and not to pick on Shopify, but these are different tools in the box. You do not screw a screw with a hammer. You use a screwdriver. You hammer a nail. A screwdriver is totally ineffectual for a nail. So deciding what business you're in and at what level, that's what's going to determine all of the tools that you use. And we're going to be very informative on this podcast, showing you, teaching you, and letting you know which tool goes to which task.
All right.
Absolutely. And just having a plan. right? Where are you going to grow? Of many of the tools that Wayne mentioned, some do some things great, some not so great. Where are you in your technology journey right now? Where are your products stored? So all of these are, yeah, just ways to look at it so you can have success out of the gate.
We're halfway through here. Thank you guys for sticking around. How about for companies, businesses that are small that think that they don't need customer support? What are your thoughts about that?
Man, oh man. This is probably my favorite question that you've asked so far. And let me just tell you this. Melody Clouds, we're in 103 countries. We're in 200 and some languages. To this day, we've been around for 2 years. To this day, my customers are shocked when they call the number on the website and they've got an issue that I'm the huckleberry that answers the phone to them. Me personally, I handle every single one of my customers, and I do it well. And there's plenty of time to do that. We don't have a whole lot of issues, and the better you create the groundwork for that, the less customer issues you're going to have. But look, what you want is repeat customers. You want customers talking about you in a positive light. You do not want to constantly grind uphill. You would like to get to certain hills and coast on the way down. So your customer service says everything to me about you. Are you in it for the money, or are you in it to serve people? And if you're in it for the money, you are probably, not all the time, but you are probably going to be a flash in the pan. One day here, one day gone. So if you plan on making this a business and a fruitful enterprise for yourself, you better get a handle on the customer service real quick. Dave?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. Because we started Witty, which we'll tell you about how you can be part of Witty, which this is a community within Witty later. We started in 89. People were just starting to use email. Customer service on our end, as we grew very rapidly, was tough during different stages. That stunted our growth in some periods, accelerated our growth in others. But just setting up that environment for customers' feedback and customer service so that you can make sure somebody reaches out. AI bots now, some people are getting frustrated. The technology's getting a little better. A lot better, actually. Me personally, certain questions, that's fine. They can work faster than a human. Certain questions or interfaces, I want to speak to a human because I need to be heard. So we'll certainly be discussing a lot of that. And that's another thing to beware with e-commerce companies, PayPal, Stripe. In many cases, they're taking people's money and you can't talk to a human. It's bots making the decision to take your money. And that's another big issue that we'll certainly get into on future shows.
Amen. I love that call out on Stripe. Hey, Stripe, you know what you're doing. I will say one other thing about that. Just this week, I've had 2 conversations, one in French, one in Portuguese, with customers that had a problem. I speak neither of those languages. I was able to go in and through a chat function, speak to my customer in Brazil and in France and be able to communicate with them and handle their problem. And I got a very nice email in French complimenting me on having customer service in French. Little did they know, I'm a redneck from Cut and Shoot, Texas, and had no idea how to speak French, but I was able to use tools to have that communication with them. So look, you are really on an even playing field with even the largest companies. You just have to know how to use the tools.
And we can dive into that in a different episode, the tools that you guys use and how it's been helpful.
It's coming.
All right. So we're at the midpoint here. Let's do some lightning round. Wayne, David, I would like you guys to either agree, disagree, and quickly say why. All right. Let's start with the first one. Prioritize paid advertising over organic traffic.
Okay,
Agreed.
depends. The short term, if you're looking for a short-term gain, it's paid traffic. If you're looking to be in this for the long haul, then you definitely need to pay attention to your organic traffic.
Dave?
Yeah, I hate to say to agree with Wayne, but it does, right? Look, organic traffic will help accelerate the paid. Can you use paid to jump in? Depends on the product. I hate keep saying depends, but a lot of these things are when focusing on and listening to your social. What are they buying? Certain products right away, others you need to earn the trust.
All right. Next one. Encourage scarcity marketing tactics.
Explaining what that means, which means for a limited time or only so many left. Look, we've all seen that. Okay. And again, this question, most of us realize that it's BS, that if you really want to buy something, you have all the time in the world to do it. Now, that being said, if it's true, then yes, letting people know only 100 left when there's only 100 of those left is a very good idea.
How about you, Dave?
Biggest
Last two rooms remaining.
fear
And
of missing out,
MSM.
right? I think it's certainly a tactic, but I will say it depends on the product. Look, I think you want to create that sense of urgency, whether it's a dated event or something that expires, or I only have a few left. Yeah, be creative with it though, and make sure you're being authentic to your customers.
This one, Wayne, you might need to explain to our listeners. Drop shipping is the best model.
Okay, so drop shipping as the best model means that you don't actually handle the product that's shipped from another location, from a supplier. And again, this is going to depend. If you don't have a big warehouse full of all of the products that you want and a big pile of money that you are ready to spend on inventory, drop shipping is the best model because you can sell these great products and never have to touch them. However, your biggest competitors are going to have the money and the inventory and the space to have them, and it is going to eventually cut your costs to be able to do the same.
About the numbers, how much is it going to cost me to employ someone to ship it? I start by doing it myself and then get to a point where I need to hire someone or go to a drop shipping. So I think that's all part of the plan that needs to be developed, right? This isn't a quick TikTok. I watched the video. I'm going to make thousands a month, $1,000 a day, thousands of dollars a day tomorrow. We're going to have a plan to get to that point and then grow beyond it.
All right. The next one, I actually hear a lot of people talking about and want to really get your thoughts on this. What do you think about focusing on high value customers only?
I 100% used to believe that was the gold standard. Find out who's been buying a lot from you, and then you focus on those individuals.
Right.
I now believe creating high value customers is a much better model than focusing on the high value customers that automatically appear to you. You can turn someone who's a low value customer, who's only bought one or two things from you, and they've kept their shopping cart extremely low over the course of a time. And you can grow that individual the more they become familiar with your products and your shipping and all of the great things that you're doing. The only way that works, though, is by having your ducks in a row. If you show people that you are totally unorganized and your return policy is horrible and you're a pain in the butt to deal with, then going back to focusing on your high value customers that find the good in you, that is still the way to go.
Yeah, look, and I think it's different plans for the different segments. You're going to market to your high value customer one way, and then you're going to start a maturity model for those that haven't caught on yet to move them up. That could be education. That could be getting them to act on downloading the newsletter, the book first, and then you're going to sell them. So certainly I agree with Wayne. You want to keep track on both, but it's just different ways of communication to each audience.
Awesome. The next one is primarily for startups. Some advice out there includes ignore mobile optimization initially. Is that
Wow.
smart?
And
Absolutely not.
Hmm.
It's very simple to test do a lighthouse report on your website, make sure that it's mobile optimized. That's a very simple thing to fix. If you're not, think about it. Every single one of us carries around a smartphone in our hands, and a lot of people shop from that smartphone. They do a lot from their from their smartphone. If you don't believe me, go to your Google Analytics and check and see where your traffic is coming from, where your sales are coming from. Ignoring your mobile optimization at any time, whether it's initially or whether it's later on, that's an anchor around your neck, and you can't swim very efficiently if you've got an anchor around your neck.
Yeah, and I would change it from ignore to prioritize mobile optimization.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Dave.
You look around the world and just the number of people that have access to mobile devices versus computers, the numbers aren't even close. So start off that way for sure.
All right. How about price manipulation for dynamic discounts?
This is a very advanced technique in e-commerce. This is something that, but by the time you get to this point where in your learning, you should be rolling pretty good. You should be having some pretty good success. Now, manipulating your pricing is extremely easy if you are doing the analytics. If you know exactly what your pixel is, if you know who your customer is, if people's buying habits when it pertains to your store. If you start jacking around that prior to knowing all of those things,
right,
you are going to kill yourself.
Anything you want to add there, Dave?
Look, we're starting to see Wendy's made an announcement a few weeks ago that prices would be higher at certain times of the day. All the fast food restaurants are installing these electronic pricing boards. Look, they could have said the costs are going to be lower at certain times of the day. I think that was a communication breakdown. So I think
That's a
in
good one.
certain markets you could do it, but just be very careful with your communication. Because again, you put something on X, you put it on Facebook, you put it on Instagram, TikTok, they're forever. Beware.
That is it. Listen, Dave, I'm glad to be able to say this. That is an absolutely great point. The analytics that Wendy's went through in order to arrive at when they can raise their prices, where they can raise their prices, and how much they can raise their prices. Believe me, a lot of work went into that. But you bring up an even better point. Messaging. They could have said, hey, if you want to save on our product, come to the store at this time, Don't fall into the rush with everybody else. That saves on staffing. That saves on all kinds of logistics. That saves on a ton of different things across the board. And they chose, or it wasn't reported that way. Whether they chose to do it that way or not, that was a huge toe stub if someone from Wendy's is the one that actually generated that bit of knowledge to everybody.
True.
Yep. Total miss, Jake.
Yep. Swing and a miss.
All right. We touched on this a little bit earlier about minimal customer support staffing. So what would be a good staffing model for customer support?
As long as you are satisfying it, that's what I would say. You listen, people do not deserve, if they have gone to the trouble of trusting you and purchasing from you, and there's an a real issue, they deserve to be heard and they deserve to be served. Your customer support should be above and beyond all times. Which one of us enjoys dealing with customer service? Nobody. And the reason for that is because very few companies have good customer service support anymore. I remember when El Bean had the return it at any time policy. You could call El Bean, you could return whatever it was, they would give you a brand new one. And they went away from that model, and guess what? Right down. It didn't take any time at all for people to translate that into you don't care anymore.
True.
Yeah, and I would say systems. You can have minimal staff, better have more tech and listen to your customers, right?
And that tech better work.
You can automate things, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'll be able to hit 0 to speak to a human.
There you go. Aggressively collect and use customer data. Looking at you, Google. What do you, what do you guys think about this?
So I'm okay. So yes, I collect and I aggressively use my customers' data. I took every single one of the Google Analytics courses. They're free. I encourage anyone that's even thinking of getting in doing any kind of e-commerce. You need to be a summa cum laude graduate of the Google University in order to translate the data that's going to be coming into you, and it will be learned over time. However, learning how to protect your customers' data is just as important. Melody Clouds, we don't let third parties have any contact with our customer data. And I've gotten into screaming matches with Apple and with Google on why we don't allow third parties accessing our customers' data. Data is currency now. And I don't think that it's any of their business who's doing business with me. But that being said, there is not one day that goes by that I don't check my phone and check my analytics on my websites. There isn't one day that I don't go to bed and having just turned off Google Analytics and my performance platforms to see how we perform that day. That is your eyes, your ears, those are your taste buds. That's every bit of information that's coming to any of your social media, any of your websites. That is critically important to keep track of because you are blind, deaf, and have no taste whatsoever going forward if you're not on those analytics.
Yeah, and look, I think that collecting it and how you use it are two different things, right? If you want to use it internally to improve your customer experience, I think we all appreciate we see ads that apply to us or other things we don't, if it can make life easier for us. I know when I'm by the Starbucks in the morning, I pull down the search on my phone, Starbucks is there. That does make it is a little creepy, maybe. Who are you giving your info to, though? Protecting customer data. Again, AI is bringing in a whole other conversation around data, protecting us as consumers, owning our own data. You're going to see a lot of that coming up in the next few years with different applications and things we can do. When I go to a doctor, do I need them to call my other doctor and all my stuff sitting around in different offices? Or do I have my data so I can say here and now keep track of myself? So that's something that's going to evolve over the next few years very quickly. So we're excited to keep everybody updated about that.
Really good point. Collection and utility, very different topics there. All right, 2 more questions. We can get through this. Constantly copy top competitors. That a good strategy or a bad strategy?
No, it's a very bad strategy. Now, copying them when they're doing things, if you'd have added who's doing the correct things, yes, absolutely. You don't want to make the same mistake that just because they're a top competitor doesn't mean that they're doing the right thing. So if you want to copy something that makes sense and you want to try something and you want to spy on, there's tons of tools that will allow you to get a peer and get an insight into what your competitors are doing and what they're doing wrong. In my view, if you are constantly copying your top competitors just to copy them, you're really screwing up. But if you are constantly analyzing your top competitors, that's a win. That's strong. And you should be continuing to do that.
Yeah.
They
And
copy, right?
I think being knowledgeable of the market. Look at the top competitors, look at some of the up and comers and some of these more nimble companies. Don't ignore them. We were at a AI conference yesterday, Ian and I. They were talking about are the big companies in AI, have they even started yet? The opinion of a lot of very respected people are no, they have not. So I would say, listen, keep an eye on your industry, really stay current with what's going on, and invest in that research and knowledge.
100%. And last question for today. We've made it, guys. How about heavily discounts for new products? Is that a good idea?
Okay, so in my opinion, no. It is so much easier to lower your price than it is to raise your price if you've gone too low.
Mm,
In other words, if you've got a new product, taking the focus off value to me has always been a bad decision.
right.
Putting
Right.
my focus on the value you're getting, maybe I add a couple extra things. Once on our survival site, we had water purification that we wanted to sell, these life straws, okay? And I realized that I was selling them for a larger, or they were more expensive from me than they were from other people. What did I do? I then went and got a survival guide. I got free things that I could throw in and make a kit for those life straws, and made the value, raise the value of up. And these are things that I didn't have to pay for, but I raised the value that I was providing those customers, and my sales shot through the freaking roof. And it really turned me on to the idea, hey, this is about value. This is not about price. We all buy things when we want them and we perceive the value of them. Okay. No one would own a Mercedes car if it was all about price. We would all own those crappy little smart cars. And the reason we don't is because we realize the value that we aspire to be able to purchase, the value that is associated with a Mercedes or a Lexus or one of those luxury brands. So value.
Dave?
Look, I agree with that in many cases. Some we want to, might make sense to discount the first part because there's back end subscription revenue, right? So again, I think we have to really have a plan and look at these things. I do agree with Wayne. A lot of times just a heavy discount, people aren't searching for price. They are searching to solve their problem, get value, make sure they're buying something that's high quality. So yeah, I agree with that.
So speaking of value, we just went through at least 20 topics in less than an hour. So pound for pound, minute for minute, Dave, Wayne, thank you so much for adding so much value to this. But before we go, we have two more things I want to cover. David, you mentioned earlier that you had a promo code.
We do have the Witty community, which the Straight Talk podcast and community is powered by Witty. What does that mean? AI sessions every week to get you up to speed, leadership. The book that Wayne's going to tell you about in a minute, we'll have courses on that. We'll have ways to jump in and learn things about growing your followers, growing your brand, growing your customers, but most important, growing your revenue. So yes, witi.com. Go to membership, promo code Straight Talk, all one word, save 20% on membership. And Wayne, what else do you get with that?
Here's what else you get with that. We just completed a book on growing your Instagram following, 100,000 followers in 90 days. It is a plan from top to bottom on how that would be done. And I think anyone that is looking to raise the value of their e-commerce businesses, anybody that's looking to step out of the vanity-gram where they're not influencing, they're not making any money from their Instagram accounts. This could also be used for your TikTok accounts, Facebook, however you're monetizing your business. The thrust of this basically is to give you a roadmap, give you a checklist, teach you how specifically to create content and to grow your channel in 90 days, 100,000 followers.
Wow.
And it's free.
All right. There you go. Talk about value. Gents, thank you so much. We covered a lot. And guys, we're just scratching the surface here. For every item that we talked about, we can spend an entire hour going through it. But we just want to give you a taste as to what we have cooking for you. And there's a lot more that we're going to be talking about And as Wayne mentioned earlier, please send us your thoughts, feedback, what topics, what issues, what are the things that keep you up at night, and let us help you become successful in your business. So with that, Wayne, David, thank you so much. This was great, even though I'm parked by Starbucks, by the freeway. This was well worth it.
Safe drive. Had a
Thank you,
great
guys.
day, everybody. Bye.
All right.
In today's competitive job market, simply applying for roles isn't enough. Let me show you a smarter approach. Hi, I'm David Leeton with over 30 years of executive search expertise. Together, we'll unlock hidden opportunities. By leveraging the Woody Network and LinkedIn, we'll target companies on the rise where your skills truly shine. Let's explore unadvertised roles in growth-focused companies, aligning your aspirations with thriving organizations. Together, we'll craft a personalized strategy to connect you with the career opportunities you deserve. Experience a tailored approach that goes beyond traditional job hunting, paving the way for your professional success. Join me on this journey to unlock your full potential and secure a fulfilling role in a company you admire. Let's navigate the job market together, leveraging my expertise to guide you towards your dream career path. It's time to step into a future where your professional journey is defined by purpose and passion. Let's make it happen. Discover a new way to approach job hunting, tailored to your unique strengths and ambitions. Your success story starts now.